just in case you're rushing to go out, don't go out before you hear the story of the orange. Alright guys, my name is Sabelo Sibisi. I'm South African. I live here in Oxford. I've lived here for now about 17 years. Okay, I'm Zulu by in terms of our group ethnicities, but I speak about 7 South African languages. In South Africa we've got about 9 languages. Okay, I speak about 7 of them. All right, I pride myself on that. So today we are going to look at the mother tongue power, the reasons why we should encourage our children to speak their mother tongue. It's a topic that is very dear to my heart. That is, I think, very important for a lot of reasons that obviously you guys are all aware of. I'll tell you briefly about what I do on a daily basis, and then I'll connect it to what you see behind me, why I think it's important. So I work as an officer, police officer. Okay, I joined. So firstly, I started something very different, political economy. Okay, worked in the office for a year, I think, and I didn't like it. It wasn't my thing. And then I joined the police. I was a bit distraught, just sent applications everywhere. And then they accepted me, and then I joined the police. But why did I join the police? Joined the police purely for one reason. Well, you know our relationship with the police. Okay, black community. Okay, I don't like to use that word. People of African descent. Okay, with the police, we know that. Okay, I'm not going to miss my words on that. But then I joined because it's very hard to understand something when you're outside it sometimes. When you're outside something, you look at something from a distance. I'm one of those people who like to come closer and observe and ask questions and immerse myself in something. And then therefore I understand it better. Then I inform proper understanding of the situation, and then I can assess and then come up with my own conclusions about the situation or the person, by the way. I think it goes back basically to what Pastor was talking about, to say that someone could be sat next to you. If you don't engage with that person, you could be losing a lot from that. Yeah. Isn't it? Yeah. You don't know the worth that person has. It's as simple as that. Okay? So again, with the institutions, it's the same thing. And it's the same thing with our friendship, with our parenting. If we do not take time to be attentive to our children, to give them time to speak, to listen to them, to ask questions, to show them that we're actually listening, we're actively listening, interested in what they're saying. These are the things that make a child to feel worth, to feel loved, to feel protected, to feel heard. And then when they go out to the streets, they know that they're confident that they are loved. And whatever that happens in the streets, they know that they are loved. So that's the importance of taking time to understand something or someone or just institutions. So that's why I joined the police, mainly to then, my aim with the police then is to get to a point where I am working in the diversity sessions of the police, inclusion and diversity side of the police, where I can effect change in regards to how we are seen. Okay? How the institutions treat us. Another kind of situation. As you all know. Okay? Obviously it's a work in progress. So that's what I do on a daily basis. Basically I deal with grief. If you see me in uniform, that's 2 things. One thing for sure, I'm not a bearer of good news if I'm in uniform. it's either I've come to extract someone from their home and take them away, or I've come with the bad news of death. To tell that family that one of their members has died. It's those 2 things, ladies and gentlemen. I never bring good news. Never, it never is. You see me going to your next door neighbor, I'm not going to tell them about the Christmas presents that are coming. It's about extracting that person, or I'm coming to tell them that someone has died. It's those 2 things. Anyway, let me not rumble too much about that part of it. The reasons then why I joined the police then is, again, whilst I'm in the police, before joining the police, I worked, I've done a lot of youth work, community work with youth, especially youth of African descent. You will realize that throughout my talk, I will not use the word black or white, because these are racist terms. Ladies and gentlemen, let's not forget that these are racist terms. We use them, not some of us don't know, some of us are not aware that these are racist. So when I say black or when I say white, I'm reinforcing racism. Very, very important to understand that. I'm not saying people shouldn't use those words. If you use them, we forget. You will hear me saying, the black guys. But I have to bring myself and remind myself that, hey, this is a racist term. Okay. So then I've worked with youth of African descent, and one thing I've realized for now, I've done it for 4 or 5 years, it is the identity crisis issue. Identity crisis, especially on the adolescent, when they come to the adolescent stage, from about 12 to 17, some 18, 19. It's a very, 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 very difficult stage for anyone, any child from any background. That age is a very volatile stage of life where you're trying to find yourself, and you're trying to make sense of the world and who you are, and then now triple that with the social situations which do not or are not conducive to your upbringing. Okay, so that's why then I've realized that this, I need to highlight it. I need to go out to churches, go out to clubs, go out to everywhere where I can, just highlight, and just, because all I'm saying is there is nothing new that you will hear here. It's just a reminder of the importance of what we should be doing. There's nothing new that there's no new information you will hear from me. It's a reminder, it's an encouragement. So, ladies and gentlemen, I've got an orange here in front of me. How beautiful it is. Look at the color, nicely soft. It tells me that it is juicy and sweet. What makes this orange to be the beautiful color that it is, and to be as sweet as it is, and to be an orange? What is it? It's not a tricky question. The climate, conditions that it is in, the attentiveness of the farmer, the right manure that is used. So basically, right conditions has brought this orange to be what it is: sweet, nice, and filling. Okay? I will explain later why I will connect this orange to what the importance of what I'm talking about. But ultimately, guys, I think I just want to highlight on 2 things, 3. I took a screenshot of your presentation there, Pastor. I think in summarizing what Pastor was talking about is basically know thyself. That's, to me, what you were talking throughout is know thyself. Know yourself, know your worth, know who you are and why you are, and think about why you do what you do. Why are you here? So basically, do not lose focus. That's, for me, that's what I took from what you're saying. And that can be demonstrated by a few of your screenshots, of the screenshots I took, where it says, for example, but we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellence of the power may be of God and not of us. Ladies and gentlemen, for an orange to be an orange, if it was to try to be an apple, what would it do? What would happen? Exactly. So let's be who we are meant to be. Let's cultivate ourselves. Let's promote ourselves. Let's know our worth, and let's know and let's know our interests and advance our interests. Because if you do not know or understand your interests as a person, you will be advancing other people's interests. And that's what you were talking about again, Pastor, when you talk about work. Do your work, know your work. That's where your worth is. your work is your worth. Okay, without due cost, are you going to operate from there? Quickly then go to the slide, ladies and gentlemen. Learning objectives then, like I've said, it's about raising awareness of the mother tongue importance, learn about mother tongue stereotypes that we'll touch on quickly. Language is a gateway to one's culture. Mother tongue as a humanizing factor. Okay, importance of heritage, ladies and gentlemen. All as we are here, we've got our histories. We come from somewhere, certain communities, certain nations, certain families. So we've got history. We've got our history, and it's important for one to be, for me to know myself. I have to know all this history. I have to be aware of it. So I have to know my heritage. Yeah, let's go, please. Self-esteem, we'll go through a few. I'm just going to put these words there. You can just put them all there. Self-esteem, ladies and gentlemen. Alienation, identity crisis, heritage. These things are very important. I can, just go slow, and then because I just wanted to sort of extrapolate a few things on that. Guys, can I ask who can give me a simple explanation of what self-esteem is? What are we talking about when we talk about self-esteem? Sorry? Self-worth. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Alienation. Anyone who has an idea what alienation is? When I feel alienated.
Being left out.
Thank you very much. Being left out. Identity crisis. Well, we know it. A heritage, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, what I've just explained about where we are, who we are, we all got families, we've got communities, we've got history. That's heritage. And what happens then if one is cut off from that heritage? They're lost, aren't they? Identity crisis happens. So identity crisis happens. If this is cut out, this happens. Because that happens as well. You get alienated. Sorry, go on, sir.
The reason Obama went to Kenya.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's a very, very critical point, sir. And then this is gone again. So this holds all of these as the base. That's why I kept it at the bottom, as the base of all of these. Ladies and gentlemen, heritages. It gives you, literally gives you, all of them. Thank you very much for that point. And that's why you find a US president, still, after so many years and all of that, he doesn't need to go to Kenya in regards to his achievements, his success, but in regards to his worth, he has to. Because he needs to feel that he's worthy, he comes from somewhere. And for that to happen, that is separated from success. We will see it when we look at what self-esteem is. Please click on self-esteem. Let's just extrapolate what it is. Just self-esteem. Yeah, okay. So maybe what we'll do, we'll just put, because I want us to go on a word and then look at the definition of it. Basically, what this word is confidence in one's worth and abilities. Good point about Obama. So Obama, this part is sorted, isn't it? Ability side of things. We know what he can do. He's the president. He's done so many achievements. He has so many achievements in life and all that. But then for him to feel complete, what did he need to do? He needed to go to Kenya to what? For what? For what, ladies and gentlemen? And then what happens then if our children then are not offered or afforded a situation where they understand and exposed to their heritage?
The opposite happens.
Thank you very much. Yeah, please, next one. Heritage, ladies and gentlemen, it is what it is. We've explained it. Inherited traditions, objects. By the way, as you will know, there's a lot of people who are still fighting for certain objects which are still need to be returned to certain countries which were taken long time ago. And why are still people fighting for objects that are taken like 100, 300 years ago? Why? Why, ladies and gentlemen? Sorry? Exactly, exactly. Because these are not just objects, they carry history. They carry a lot of worth. They mean something for those people. And they are here because they here, or in whatever countries that they are in, they know the worth of them. Okay? Language. Language carries history, it carries culture. You can never, ladies and gentlemen, understand yourself if you do not fully immerse yourself in the language. Because your language is your gateway to your culture, and it's your gateway to your heritage, and it's your gateway to fully understanding and fully appreciating who you are. And then what happens if we don't teach our children our languages? Alienated. I'm encouraging that we should, I'm highlighting these things to show that in order for our children to be worthy, to be successful, because to be successful, ladies and gentlemen, is both, when we talk about self-esteem there, is for both those things to happen. It's for one to be able to explore, to have confidence, to explore their capabilities, their abilities. But at the same time, it's not to leave yourself at the door and explore your capabilities, and then yourself is left there, and then you're just an empty vessel. It's for those two things to go side by side, and then one feels worthy, and they can stand wherever, they can walk into any door, and they feel they are. And then they can be called whatever name they're called, because they know they are. It doesn't affect them as much, because they're not told by the other what they are. Okay, thanks. Next, identity crisis, ladies and gentlemen. I won't dwell too much on it. As we've already explained it again. A sense of self or place in the world where you feel confused. And like I've said, in the adolescent stage, I will show you in the next slide when we look at how children grow. There's a lot of, obviously, when you reach that stage between 11 to adolescent stage, a lot of confusion of the world. Okay, obviously it's not caused by just the language, not teaching you, not exploring, showing the child their culture. Is caused by a lot of things. Okay, but these are critical to the child in helping them to get better at that stage. Okay, okay. Next one, then, please. Alienation. We've already discussed it. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. Thank you. What did you say? Makes an orange to an orange? Thank you. And just imagine our children as our oranges. They need to be fully rounded, sweet, bendy but strong, enjoyable, and cultured. Ladies and gentlemen, let's look quickly at socialization and how it happens and at what stage. From year 3 until your age 3, you pretty much, that's where you begin to sort of understand or have preferences of things. But before this stage, a child is just a child. They are basically, they would think that everything is them. When they look at the world, they think they are all of this, and then that's why when they scream, they expect that someone should jump and come and help them, because they see us as their extension. They see the world as their extension. But now when they come to this stage, they now know that they are, and then there is that group, there's this group, and there's that group, and then they will have certain preferences. But those preferences are not based on anything, they're just based on whatever that excites them at that time, depending on what they've been exposed to in their little life. Let's go to the next stage, which is from the age 10 then, it is then children start to developing the ability to reason. This means they begin to understand how society is organized into hierarchies. What's your group hierarchy in society, ladies and gentlemen? Do you know where you are in terms of hierarchies in society? Because this is important as well. Since we are parents, we are bringing up our kids. It's important that we understand that these hierarchies. And it's important to know where we are, and so that We know how to mitigate. We know how to make them understand the world and their place in the world, and how to face challenges, because there are challenges, as you all know, ladies and gentlemen. So then, but at this stage then, so they start to understand those hierarchies. So then, what I'm saying here, ladies and gentlemen, that if then we are not there actively engaging our children, interested in them, their understanding, yeah? They start being called names, they start seeing get interested in certain people, be it crime, be it gangs, be it whatever. Because you'll be surprised, we deal with children who are as young as 8, 9, ladies and gentlemen, who are already in gangs. Yes. 8, 9. Already in gangs. You just, child in front, you don't even know what to say to them. Because in my head, I'm thinking, surely they don't understand what this is, but then you have to keep putting yourself, hey, the gang. Of course, they don't understand. But why is that? It's because what I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, at this age, children are interested, they need attention. They need confirmation that they're worthy. It's a need. That need is as important as food, for them to know that they are loved. It's as important as food, for them to know that they're loved. You can imagine then if you don't feed your child, if you don't give your child food, what happens, ladies and gentlemen? Would the social services not get involved? Now, what happens when you don't give your child attention and understanding about social issues? Do I not get involved? Extraction. Okay? So very, very important, ladies and gentlemen. And then we get to the stage where they clearly identify those who do not belong, and then the seeds of prejudice then start to begin. Okay, and problems start to happen. What I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, by showing you this is just again to highlight. I know you know these things, but it's just to highlight and encourage that we are in an environment where we are a minority, and with that minority status, and with that hierarchical status, because we rank at the low of that hierarchical status, and with the images that we see on TV, media, everywhere, of how, for example, a man who looks like me is, ladies and gentlemen, on a child, it affects them greatly. Okay. I still get. I've been walking past and someone will shut their door. I feel like going back. Why are you shutting your door when you see me? I know what that means. Microaggressions. But and I'm like, I'm an officer. Why are you shutting your door on me? And next thing you be calling me to come and help you. But anyway, so point is, it's important that we take our kids, we're attentive to them. We're make them understand social complexities, okay, about where we are, the environment that we are in, okay. But of course, this goes hand in hand with a cognitive development of the child. The child may be 10, but it does not mean they have the mind of a 10-year-old. They may have the mind of a 7-year-old. They may have the mind of a 12, 13-year-old. That's why it's important for us then to be attentive to our children. Then when you're attentive to your child, you will know how to deal with these issues, isn't it? We can go to the next one. I think I've already touched on that one. Thanks. That's the adolescent stage, ladies and gentlemen. Adolescent stage is a very difficult stage in the upbringing of children, because obviously they are forming their own identities, they are making sense of the world, and they are becoming their own people. Okay, they'll shut the door in front of you. You come to talk to them. They've done something at school. You just slam the door. You get parents who call the police. You get that. I'm like, this is all about parental responsibility. Why am I here? What has the child done? Oh, they're not listening to me. It's not a crime. It's not a crime. Oh, it's being difficult. It's not a crime. It's a child. They're difficult because they don't understand. They're difficult to you because maybe you've not given them enough time, and they're difficult to you because they're at that stage of life when they're trying to make sense of things. And where all they need is space and attention and the confirmation of love. And top that now with understanding, because they're trying to make sense of who they are. Now, if we shut out the most important thing, which is who they are, where they come from, why they are, why they look different, why they're called names, why people like them are looked at in a certain way everywhere. Yeah? So let's have our children. We'll move to the next stage. Sorry, what did you say why the orange is an orange? Environment, conditions. Social, what? Climate conditions. But this is a child. So social conditions. For me to enjoy the orange, I have to create those conditions. Or a farmer has to create those conditions. Okay? And even it comes to my house, I can't just leave it anywhere. I have to leave it in a basket, in a nice place where it's if a child speaks more than one language, their cognitive development increases at a faster rate than a child who speaks one language. Okay, and this is why I've been doing these talks now for the last 2 months. I've been going to different churches explaining this. UNICEF. Okay, this is in 1999. Why did they start this day? They started this day because they realized that the languages in the world are declining at an alarming rate, ladies and gentlemen. People are adopting and not, which is not a bad thing to speak the language I'm speaking in. Love it. Okay, it's the language of the world. But now what's happening is we neglect and push away our own because of, I'm an orange but I want to be a banana. I think the banana is treated better. Ladies and gentlemen, an orange needs to be an orange. And an orange needs to be proud to be an orange. An orange will be enjoyable. It will be sweet. So, this is scientifically proven, ladies and gentlemen. Teach you, if you decide that you don't, I don't think there is any one of us anyway who wouldn't want to teach. I know they're very, very difficult, it's very difficult to do this. But if you decide not to teach your child your language, at least teach them another language. Let them be bilingual. It helps their cognitive development. If you hate your culture so much that you don't want to teach your child, teach them some French. Let them speak English and French. Or some Spanish, some German, whatever. You doing this then, it gives them a rounded understanding of the world, exposure. Language carries culture, and culture is economy. Can you go to the next step, please? Again, there we go. These are reports, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't just write the words. These are reports. Okay. Great academic achievement. And this is specifically mostly in universities, it's been proven. Okay? Next one, thanks. Commercial advantages, ladies and gentlemen. By this, we can look at all kinds of. Right now, what's the most upcoming music that is more sort of rising with more than any other? It's the Afrobeats, isn't it? Right? How easy then is it to get a child to be proud of that? Just play the music. Connect them to their Africanness. And then with that, it gives you a window to go in and deal, engage. And then with that, if they sing well, if they're good singers or they're good engineers, they could be involved in the promotion or making of Afrobeats, Amapiano, all kinds of music that goes with their language. But now what happens if you don't teach your child their language? You're cutting them out from that market. So commercially, it makes sense as well. Next one, please. Oh, by the way, and fashion. To make beautiful clothes, it takes some cultural intricacies of understanding that culture in order for you to blend certain colors and make them gel and go. Because when you either you make music or you make fashion, it's a story. You're bringing a story. But it's a story. It's an object, but it's a story that's been created. I've already mentioned it's about a language being culture and economy. We can move to the next one, thanks. And most important one, ladies and gentlemen, I think this has been the theme of the day. The pastor talking about what he was talking about with regards to not taking ourselves for granted and trying to cultivate ourselves and be more in ourselves. It gives our children this, ladies and gentlemen. Without this, ladies and gentlemen, the world becomes very cold. you may tell someone that you love them. They will not believe you because they believe that they are not worthy of love. This is also connected to your abilities, doing amazing things. But the person who's a great footballer, great golfer, or whatever other skills, great engineer, this amazing thing, but still, why are you choking in cocaine? Why are you living a life that is so, it's because the person does not believe that they are worthy. They don't. And you find people who are struggling, who live very hard lives, but they come out smiling every day because they carry themselves within themselves. They've not compromised, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not compromise. And most importantly, let's not compromise our children. Let's give our children their heritage. Let's just read through the next slides now. I think I've gone a bit too much. Social alienation, ladies and gentlemen. I think pretty much we've touched on social alienation. Feeling of disconnection from a group, whether friends, family. I've mentioned this about us when we go visit wherever countries we come from. If the child does not speak the language, it's hard for them, ladies and gentlemen. I was speaking, a friend of mine right now is in South Africa. She is struggling. The child is not being able to enjoy the grandparents. She cannot partake in the plays. Can you imagine? Do you think the child will go back again? No, she won't. You won't. It's traumatic. And funny thing is that the children at home then are looking at him because he speaks Whitney English, very posh. They look at him and we want to be like you. And in his head, he's like, oh my God, I so wish I could be like you. But that's life. But can you understand what I'm trying to say? We'll quickly go, we could just bring them up, all of them on this slide, because we've already touched on this. This last bit, ladies and gentlemen. Subordinate racial or social status. I've already touched on hierarchies in society, that we all have different, or belong to different hierarchies in those society, and then therefore we are looked at in different ways. Because those hierarchies come with certain statuses, okay? Be it a social status, if you're a banker or whatever that you do, it gives you some kind of resume and that social status, isn't it? And then all of a sudden you're respected because you're a doctor or a banker. Again, racial statuses, like I said about someone like me, I'm an officer, but still I get doors shut in my face just because I am who I am. Okay? But then, what I'm still highlighting here, drilling, is that we need to engage our children. Teach our children a second language. If you don't want to teach them your language, which is fine, we all got choices. But let's teach them a different language. It helps them understand the world better. It gives them that cognitive advancement. Okay, next one, please. I won't dwell too much on this because this is a bit too theoretical and all that. But anyone who've ever heard of Steve Biko? Yes. So Steve Biko was a South African prominent leader. I wouldn't call him, he was more of an academic than a politician, academic stroke politician. But he wasn't at the forefront of, he was trying to understand the trauma, the impact of racism and apartheid that was affecting South Africans, not just South Africans, Africans at large, okay? And then in doing that, he came up with this theory of false consciousness, which is basically when the subordinate group, which unfortunately I belong to, internalizes the ideology of the dominant group. When the subordinate group, which I belong to, internalizes the ideology of a dominant group, let an orange be an orange. Do not try to make an orange to be a banana or an apple, just because those two maybe look or are said to be nicer than an orange. You're creating a problem, and it's not fair. The jump. Alienated people, they must be actively engaged in every step of claiming their humanity. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I am only human if I am. Okay? If I try to be a banana, so I humanize myself when I become myself. When I advance my interests, my language, my culture, when I make sure that my children understand these things, bring them up in a rounded way, orangey way, to be sweet and loving and tasty. Yeah? Let an orange be an orange. Because that does what? It provides dignity, ladies and gentlemen. No matter, it could be anywhere in the world, dealing with Obama, for example. If you know your worth, you know your worth. You can look him in the eye and present your story. Because you're not reliant on his status or how he is seen. Ladies and gentlemen. Because that's another thing. It's about how we are seen. And it's about the suffering that we have in ourselves. It's about how we perceive the world. It's not the world itself. I'll tell you now, for example, that I don't know my father. Some of you will be like, oh. Because I don't know my father. And that's quite a lot of blessings in me. Because I've had to create so many fathers. Yeah, brought up by many fathers. Take something there, take something there. No disappointments. No disappointments whatsoever. It depends how you look at the world, ladies and gentlemen. It depends on your perception of the world. Let's cultivate that perception on our children. Let's bring our children in the right way, in a rounded way, in an environment that is conducive of their abilities and worth. Let's quickly go to the next one, and we're finished. Yeah, we're done. Thanks. So to round up, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to just bring out the problem and not say how we can fix it. It's very simple. Few things that I can suggest that you actually should we ask the room, what can we do to engage our children, to teach our children our languages? What can we do? I've said one. I said music. What can we do?
Speak the language.
Speak. Yes, in the house.
In the house, yes.
Yeah, speak to them in the language, speak to them in the, if you are parents, obviously I'm aware that, I'm lucky my wife speaks Zulu as well, but some of us don't, some couples don't speak same, but you can still speak to your, like you say, you can still speak to your child in your language. It doesn't stop you. So yes, so we've got music, we've got speaking to your child, engaging the child in their language. What else can we do? Listening to them, yes. Giving them time, attention, listening to them. Okay? Another thing that we can do is there's YouTube. Just play some video of someone in South Africa or in Kenya or wherever language that you speaking in the background while you're cleaning your house or doing whatever that you're doing. Just let it play. And then find, if they like animals, find a program that is delivered in that language. So we need to understand their interests. But that means we need to give them attention. We need to listen to them. And these things, they may sound easy, they're hard. Remember, we work. Pastor, you were saying, cut down on the shift sometimes, in order for you to experience God. Because you cannot experience God in a tired body. If you're too busy, God gets busy for you as well. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't, it's impossible. The body has to be in tune with your soul for you to enjoy your life. Okay, that's why your abilities and your worth have to go together. They have to be in tandem. So we've got music, we've got speaking, engaging to the child, we've got just play the videos that you can find on YouTube. Another thing is, we're a community here. Bring the child in, even if you're not coming to church. There's friends. Like I've got Martin. I've known most of you here through Martin, my friend Martin, and we've been friends for a long time. So if I want my child to learn Kukui, for example, he can bring him along. But guess what? He's going to bring him along now because there's a little community of children here who again, because of that Africanness that they need to be exposed to. Because where I live in Killington, there's hardly kids of African descent there. So my child will come here because of that affinity. So if you can't make it to church, find someone that you trust with your child. Let them bring him to church. Let them be here, immersed in this and all of this. But you guys and pastor have created. This is part of culture, by the way. It's not outside it. This is it. It's just about the awareness that we like I said in the beginning. Why do you do what you do? Why? What are you trying to advance? Why do I teach my child my language? Well, explain the importance of it. And then again, same question. Why do you not teach your child your language? You must have reasons. And that's what I'm saying. It's important that if you choose not to, let it be a conscious decision. Because life is a conscious thing. You can only live if you're aware. The minute you're not aware, you're not living, ladies and gentlemen. Life is consciousness. It's as simple as that. I will end it there. Hopefully, Pastor will allow me to come back another time and present and remind you that let an orange be an orange.